Let's give a warm welcome to Edara, who is our product manager, and she will tell everything about what she will be telling about. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and thank you for having me here. Can we just take a moment, to put our hands together for the organizer of this amazing event? They have done such a phenomenal job. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about leading process automation beyond just having technical expertise. A little bit about me. So my name is Edara Ekong Okoli. I am from the beautiful country of Nigeria, where I grew up and where I currently reside today. I've got a bachelor's degree in business administration from Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria, and I've got a master's degree in logistics and supply chain management from the University of Hull in the UK. I started off my career in logistics and supply chain management, where I worked in a medical manufacturing company, as well as in the supermarket industry in the UK. And then 10 years ago, I decided to move back to Nigeria, and I joined Nokia as a project cost manager. Now, my job as a project cost manager was basically managing the budget of the projects and also operations within the projects. 2 years ago, I transitioned into this world of tech as a product manager, where I'm responsible for digitalizing and automating some of the existing processes we've got in Nokia. Now, I'll talk a little bit about that in more details. So in terms of my hobbies, I love to travel. I'm absolutely excited to be here in Poland. This is my first time. It is much colder than I thought it was going to be, but I am happy to be here. I love working out, I love to stay fit, and I love to stay active. I think they call it Fit Farm now, #FitFarm. Then I love watching TV shows, anything that has got action, thriller, murder, just the TV show, nothing more than that. And I love reading novels as well, similar types of novels. All right, so let's get into it. I've got a question here on screen for everyone to answer. And, just think about it. And the question is, if technology could help you with one task, what would you choose? Now, this could be in your day-to-day, at home, in school, at work. If technology could help you do something, what would that be? Now, a few months ago, I got married, and a week after the wedding, I received 1,000 pictures from my photographer. I was asked to select 150 out of 1,000 that will make the wedding album. Now, you can imagine going through 1,000 raw footages just to select 150. And when I was performing this task, I was just like, oh my God, I really wish technology could help me do some type of sorting or filtering. Basically, you can imagine, there were some pictures that were dark, pictures that were blurry, pictures that were duplicates, pictures where people's eyes were closed. And I was just wishing, if only I had technology that could help me sort out these pictures, and then I can select from just 500 to 150. So if anyone knows of such technology in this room, please let me know afterward, because I could be having another party in the future. So think about it in your day-to-day. What do you think technology could help you with? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about digitalization and automation. So what is digitalization? Digitalization is basically the use of technology to handle manual tasks that we perform, very simply put. And automation takes digitalization a step further. Automation helps us handle this task with minimum human intervention. So if I go back to this picture of this young girl, when you think about digitalization and automation, what do you think about regards to the task that she's performing right now? So manually, she's taking a note, using a pen and a notebook. That is a manual way of taking notes. Digitalization will be typing in this note into some type of digital device, a phone, a tablet, or a computer. And then automation takes digitalization a step further by helping to summarize the notes, creating key themes, categories of the same notes. So this is a very simple task where you can see how digitalization and automation can play a part in. Now, in Nokia, just like many other companies across the world, a lot of processes are undergoing transformation from a manual way of working to a digital way of working, and of course, an automated way of working as well. And this is part of what I am working on as a product manager in Nokia. So one of the projects I'm working on is on the automation of supplier purchase order creation. Now, very simply, a purchase order is a formal document that has got services to be delivered by a supplier. So a buyer issues a formal document that contains a list of services, where those services will need to be delivered, and the pricing. So in Nokia, for example, we have thousands of suppliers across the globe, and we also have hundreds of thousands of sites. So we issue millions of supplier purchase orders to our suppliers. Now, in the manual way of doing this task, a project manager would raise a request using a Microsoft Excel sheet. He will send this request to a cost manager. So this request would say, I want to issue a purchase order to supplier A to go to site B to perform certain services. The cost manager, which was my previous role, would confirm that the prices are correct. They will update the necessary information and pass it on to a logistics manager. Logistics manager updates the same template with the necessary information, passes it on to our order processing administrator. Order processing administrator goes into SAP and creates the purchase order, and then sends it to the supplier. This process I just described in a few minutes takes an average of 7 days. That's a long time in such a fast-moving environment that we are in today. Now, with the automated way of performing the same task, a project manager goes into a project management tool where all the necessary information have already been updated in that tool. The pricing, the supplier, the location, the services, everything is there. All the project manager has to do, click a button, it goes to a robot, the robot processes the order, and the supplier purchase order is issued towards the supplier. This automated process takes 10 minutes. Now, you can imagine we've gone from a manual, tedious, complex way of working where there are lots of mistakes and possibilities of errors to a more efficient, digitalized, and automated way of creating a supplier purchase order. Now, you could be wondering, what is my role as a product manager in this process I just described? Very simple. My role is to make the lives of the end users easy. That's it. So the end users in this case are all those roles I described previously and doing this work manually. Now, you can imagine that Nokia, we've got quite a number of people that have been here for several years. So we have people that have been doing things the same way for 5, 10, 15 years, and now they have to transform their way of working from a manual to an automated way of working. So my job is basically to take the requirements. How do you want this solution to look? How can we make it very easy and simple for people to transition from the old ways to the new ways of working? And in order to do that, an important skill is empathy. In order to understand the problem of the end users, it's important to be able to put yourselves in their shoes. So to solve a problem effectively, you must know what it feels like to have that problem. And with that, I'll talk a little bit more of some of these key skills that are necessary for leading an automation project beyond just having technical skills, so beyond tech. Now, okay, this looks like quite a lot, but there are actually just 4 skills that I'm going to be highlighting today. The first one is collaboration. And I'm really happy that the speakers that have gone before me have talked a little bit about this, the importance of human skills. Now, to be able to design a solution, it's important to be able to work together. A product manager has to be able to take the requirements from the end users, understand what it is that they need, and be able to translate this to the IT teams. A product manager also has to be able to work with business leaders to make sure that this solution and the objective of what is being developed fits what Nokia is looking at in terms of its overall vision and goals and objectives. So a product manager has to be able to work with IT teams, end users, business leaders, cross-functional teams, different organizations, people from around the world. Because again, this is an international environment we are talking about. So you have to be able to work with people from different backgrounds. Creativity, again, my colleagues have talked about creativity as well. Solving problems have to be done with new, fresh ideas. So a product manager has to be able to think outside of the box. How would this solution work? What is the best way that this solution can work? And also, when faced with problems, a product manager should be able to think creatively of ways to solve problems. Adaptability. Now, as we all know, we're in a very fast-paced, changing environment. Technology is changing very quickly, so we have to also be able to adapt. Likewise, the business needs and the business direction. My colleague talked about 4G to 5G to 6G. Things are moving very fast in this world that we are in. So as a product manager, it's very important to be able to adapt very quickly. It's also possible that you could come up with such a brilliant idea. You love the idea. This is how the solution will work. You can envision how this would work. And at the point of going to deploy this solution to the people that will use it, they can come back and say, no, I don't like it. I don't like the way it works. I don't know if any of you here use an iPhone, but recently the new iOS 16 came out, and they changed everything in the photos. And even for me, I use an iPhone, and it's very confusing these days to understand where are my pictures. So you can imagine that maybe some people would have had brilliant ideas, but at the point of it going live, people are like, I don't quite like the way this works. So a product manager has to be able to pivot. If you are heading in this particular direction and there's a problem here, you have to be able to change directions and solve the problems. A product manager also has to be resilient. Giving up is not a skill that is needed in this world of tech. Just throw that away. That is not a skill that is needed in this world of tech. Regardless of what is going on, a product manager has to still be able to push through and to be very resilient. Do not give up. Now, I talked about empathy earlier a little bit, and I'll spend a little bit more time here. Empathy is basically understanding the needs of people, putting yourself in the shoes of another person. And like I said, with designing a solution that is completely new and expecting people to change overnight, or expecting people to suddenly get used to this new solution and love it and embrace it, it's a big wish. It's a dream. But in order to be able to ease people to transition from a manual way of working to a digital way of working, a product manager must be able to empathize. You must really be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Don't just come up with a brilliant idea and expect people to just use it without spending the time to understand, how can I help you? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. When we design solutions, we're not just designing it for ourselves. So I cannot think that, oh, this solution works perfectly well for me. It may not work for you. So a product manager has to be able to empathize with their end users. And in order to do this, you must be able to communicate. Open communication is very important. When solutions are being designed, even after they have been designed, feedback should be something that should happen very frequently. How do you find the solution? What are the challenges that you are facing? What can we do better? What can we improve? A product manager cannot just be stuck in their ways and not think about how the end users are viewing this solution. So in terms of the soft skills that I've highlighted today, and the reason why I have done this presentation is because, like I said, I started as a project cost manager. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration. I do not have an IT background. But what are some of the skills that you can still have today that can add value in this world of tech? Creativity, empathy helps you work well with your end users. It helps you understand what the problem is. Creativity helps in finding innovative solutions. Collaboration would enable that your project is executed seamlessly because you're able to work very well as a team. Adaptability helps you to react quickly to changes while still keeping your project on track. These are skills that we probably already have today. In our lives, we already have these skills, or we can harness and develop these skills. So this is very important for a product manager to be able to have, and for each of us to be able to add value in this world of tech. So I would like to just summarize by saying that today we have learned a little bit about digitalization and automation and how technology can play a role in our day-to-day lives. We have also been able to see that in order for you to add value in this world of tech, you do not have to first have an IT background, IT expertise. You do not have to know how to write a code to be able to add value in the world of tech. Everybody is welcomed. Everyone is welcomed. So whether you are a student dreaming big about going into STEM, or you're a professional looking at transitioning into the world of IT, think about it. What problems can I help solve with the use of technology? And then go ahead, start small, dream big, and welcome into this amazing world of tech. Thank you very much.
Questions? Yeah, we have time. We have time.
I think we still have a few minutes for questions.
Are there any questions to Edara? Yay, the first hand of the last row.
So you mentioned that a leader of a team project has to have empathy to be able to emphasize with what the end users want. And I can't help but think that Microsoft failed really hard at that with Windows. Like, you know, every other version of Windows has been a failure, basically. And do you believe this to be the case, that they were not able to emphasize with, with your traditional end user? or is there another reason that so many Windows versions failed?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Obviously, I do not work in Microsoft. But what I can say is that when it comes to empathy, it's really about listening to your end users. And it's like with big companies like Nokia or Microsoft, even Apple, right? If you don't get the real feeling of what people want, meaning the people that are going to use the products, then you could be faced with situations like this. Now, I don't know if the product team at Microsoft spent time with the end users. I'd like to imagine that they did. And I don't know for certain if they have empathy or not. But what I can say is that if you're coming into this world of tech, it's important to develop this skill. And you may find yourself actually making a difference in the products that you come out with. So who knows? Maybe if you go to Microsoft tomorrow, hopefully you come to Nokia and you exhibit this empathy. That could really be a game changer in some of the products that go out there.
Maybe one more question?
Yes.
did you have a problem with any of these skills, and how did you overcome this problem?
That's a very good question. I would say the one that I struggled with a little bit in the beginning was adaptability. And that is because I came from, again, project cost management. I was managing budget. I was dealing with numbers. Numbers are not as dynamic as human beings, right? So, like I said, we will come up with maybe a brilliant idea, and then when you go into the field for people to use the solution, there could be problems. So this was, in the beginning, I'm like, why? What is going on? Why is this not working? But with time and with experience, I got to realize that, you know what? Technology fails. You can have the best idea, but technology just has another plan. I don't know. So it was something that I got to a point where I'm like, no, I cannot allow this to maybe demoralize me or affect me just because something failed. It failed, let's fix it, let's move on. So yes, adaptability was one of the ones I really had to work on in this role.
Thank you. Thank you, Edara.
My shoes stuck. My shoes.